is the CARFAC meeting for August 10th at 6:30 p.m., originally scheduled for July 22nd. We're rescheduling for now, and we do not have a quorum, so there will be no official actions taken during this meeting. And we'll just call the meeting to order. And my name is Jay Osterholm, Chairman, so I'm here, and
Tony Mendocino.
Lauren Mulqueen.
Bob Tate.
Amy Lacy.
wonderful, thank you.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just for clarification, myself and Amy are a representative of the staff of the Finance Department. Thank you.
Wonderful. We'll start with new business and with a brief update on the OPEB project, which we've been spending a significant amount of time on in the recent past. Oh, sorry. So we're gonna start with new business. We'll be starting, and we'll just be discussing three things. The first is the OPEB project, which we've been working on in the last few months.
Yes, thank you, Jay. The board tasked CARFAC late last year, actually, almost a year ago, with taking a look at the OPEB funding and doing a deep dive into providing some guidance and coming up with a recommendation on how best the township can fund the OPEB obligations. This group has met on multiple occasions in work group settings. We've met with the actuary. We've done a deep dive into the assumptions and the analysis and the details. And we're at the point where we're about 3 to 4 weeks away from having the updated valuation report as of 1/1/2021. And with that updated valuation report, CARFAC will reconvene, and hopefully we'll get to a point where the group will be at a point to come up with some recommendations for the board on ways to approach the funding of OPEB liabilities. In conjunction with that, the staff here, we're working on a straight-up cash flow analysis of the OPEB costs, taking our current costs for this year, for next year, and just looking at it on a pure cash basis, what OPEB is costing us, and building in some assumptions. So we'll look at OPEB from a cash forecasting model, using some assumptions that we've discussed as a group, as well as from the actuary's valuation report, and hopefully we'll have enough information that the group can provide the Board of Commissioners with some guidance, recommendations, a plan on how best to approach OPEB.
And we're going to be coming back to that in September, correct?
As soon as the evaluation report is completed and we receive it here, it will be distributed to the group, and we can schedule a work group meeting immediately following that.
Fantastic, thank you. And then moving to the second of three sections on new business is the 2020 audit.
So yes, the update on the financial audit for 2020. Auditors were here on site for several weeks, back in March and April, did extensive field work. One of our CARFAC members, Mr. Ed Kane, serves as the audit liaison, kind of like pseudo audit committee, if you will, between CARFAC and the Board of Commissioners and with the audit team. Worked with the auditors. Any issues that came up, they would have been addressed with Mr. Kane. Throughout the course of the audit, there were none. Mr. Kane was in touch with the auditors towards the end with the closeout, discussing any concerns regarding internal controls, substantive testing, procedures, any concerns with management. And the end result was everything was positive. The auditors issued an unqualified opinion on the report. just due to, some other timing constraints and scheduling issues, management filed an extension with the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association. That gave us until July 31st to file the audited report and the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or better known as the CAFR. The CAFR was completed. July 31st fell on a weekend, so the report was technically due on Monday, August 2nd, and was uploaded with GFOA and with the Municipal Market Securities website, referred to as EMMA. So the township is in compliance with its reporting obligations. The draft of the report was issued to CARFAC and to Mr. Kane, and the final bound report is actually in production as we speak.
Great, thank you, Bob. And we're going to come right back to you on the third and final item of new business on the agenda, which is an update on the business tax collections.
If, just indulge me for one moment as I pull up my spreadsheet. So, to this group's credit, a year and a half ago, when CARFAC was reconstituted, a little over a year and a half ago, the first project was to take a look at the Act 511 business tax revenues and do some analysis on that. I am happy to report, and as soon as I pull up my spreadsheet, I can give you some details. So again, we all know with COVID, well, let me back up. Radnor Township historically has had a relatively low real estate tax rate. And that's due in part thanks to the business tax ordinance that we have in place, which has provided a healthy revenue stream. Many years it's been upwards of 1/3 of the budget, if not a little bit more. And with COVID, the business tax revenues were heavily impacted, to the tune where we finished 2020 with the mercantile taxes were at about 75% of budget, and the business privilege taxes were about 80% of budget. I mean, combined, we were off by a little over $2 million. For 2021, year to date, where we stand, and also that includes Realty Transfer Tax, I want to mention. Our Realty Transfer Tax last year was 95% of budget. For 2021, Realty Transfer Taxes to date, as of yesterday, we are at 111% of the full annual budget. The mercantile taxes, year to date, we're at 83% of our full annual budget. And the business privilege taxes, we are at 102% of our full year budget. The business privilege and mercantile taxes, we have about 75% compliance so far. So we still have about 25% of our tax base that still has yet to file. That doesn't mean we'll have another 25% in revenue. Of course, the numbers just vary based on the size of the business. But the number of businesses yet to file is roughly 400 to 500 business taxpayers. So, and just to give it some context, the budget for business privilege taxes last year, it was $8 million, and we missed the mark tremendously. Now, we did reduce that to $7.25 million. Mercantile taxes was $1.4 million budgeted last year, reduced to $1.25 million for 2021. So we did reduce the budget estimates. So, I mean, we were glad to meet it, and we're on track. We are exceeding, and hopefully we anticipate getting back up to 2020, if not even the 2019 levels in terms of our business tax collections. So with that, we feel we're on a pretty good track this year. Businesses are rebounding, the revenues are healthy, and we hope to see that continue. And we're planning for it as part of our 2022 budget, where the budgeted numbers for 2022 were already bringing those back up to the pre-COVID levels. The board also had approved the addition of one full-time position dedicated to purely Act 511 tax administration. We did fill that position in February of this year, and things are going well. So hopefully we'll continue to have more good news to report in the future.
Okay, Bob, thank you. So that is the third and final item we have on the agenda for new business. Recognizing that we do not have a quorum and a majority of our members here, we'll shift to old business. And Bob, again, is there anything there that we need to recognize?
No, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Tony, Lauren? No? Then we move on to any public participation questions, discussions, and we do not have any public participation this evening. We hope that will change. And any other items?
If we could we touch on the meeting schedule?
Yes, please. Yeah. So, would you like me to do it?
Yes, please.
Right. So, our next quarterly meeting will be on October the, stand by, 1 second. The 12th, nope, the 19th. October the 19th will be our next formal quarterly meeting, which will be broadcast as well. Okay?
And just to clarify, on the schedule that was set at the beginning of the year, that meeting, per the township schedule, is on the calendar for October 21st, which is a Thursday, and we know that there's already some pre-existing conflicts.
Right.
So we will be scheduling to move that to Tuesday, the 19th,
Right.
October 19th, and we'll confirm with our videographer and make sure there's no other conflicts. At this point, I'm unaware of any conflicts to keep the meeting for the 19th.
Great, thank you. So again, our next quarterly formal meeting will be October 19th at 6:15, 6:30 p.m. We'll announce it when we get closer. Anything else? Anything else? Going once, going twice? Okay. So with that, I'd like to formally adjourn the meeting for CARFAC on October 10th. And thank you for your participation.